Now, I want to add here now what I found in Scripture to support Deshedan's argument. That is, uh, here's three or four scriptures. Some of them are in King James, others in Young's Literal, and I use the NLT a couple times. And I'm going to read them as fast as I can to keep the video short. We're in Amos 6:7. We're told, "Therefore now shall they go captive with the first that go captive, and the banquet of them that stretched themselves shall be removed." And in Young's Literal, he says, "Therefore now they remove at the head of the captives," because he's going with the literal translation, "and turned aside the morning feast of stretched out ones." And then to support that in 1 Samuel 9:22, "Then Samuel brought Saul and his servant into the hall and seated them at the head of those who were invited, about 30 in number." The King James says the chief place. So there again, yes, chief is related to first, which is related to head, but chief is further down the line. Uh, you the the chief of the clan, the chief of any body of people, is set at the head table, and at the head of that table in what would be called the first seat. And we have that connotation even with our president. His wife is the first lady. He's the chief, and we give her honor. So we have head, which leads to first. And where do you put, who do you put in the first place? You put the chief. And why do you do it? To honor him. And so it gets more and more abstract down the line, but the idea of first should be first. And then Mark 12:38 through 40. "And he was saying to them in his teaching, Beware of the scribes who will in long robes to walk and love salutations in marketplaces, and first seats in the synagogues, and first couches in suppers." And then in Proverbs 25:6-7, "Put not forth thyself in the presence of the king, and stand not in the place of great men, for better it is that it be said unto thee, Come up hither, than that thou shouldest be put lower in the presence of the prince whom thine eyes have seen." And we know it's better to sit at the end of the table and be invited to the head of the table and sit with the honored guest than to try, as the scribes and Pharisees did, to work themselves and compete for the first seats, the chief seats at the head table. And so then we have that in the NLT, which is ironic, which is a dynamic translation, but they're closer to being more concrete here. They say it's better to wait for an invitation to the head table than to be sent away in public disgrace. Uh, and I usually don't like dynamic translations, but uh, I'm amazed that it uses the word head. Now, I want to go from that to the next stage in um, my argument, and that is that the notion of first then is then carried with the notion of last, and the first and the last are put together over and over throughout Scripture, and we'll see that. My examples are Deuteronomy 13:9, "But thou shalt surely kill him, thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people." Now that's KJV. Young's Literal says, uh, "Thy hand is on him in the first place to put him to death, and the hand of all the people last." First and last. In Numbers 24:20, "Amalek was the first, or the head of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever." First, last, head, end. And then Exodus 4:8, "And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe you, neither listen to the voice of the first sign," which is Varishovna. Varishovna. Sorry about my improper accent. that they will listen, I'm sorry, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign, the first and the last. Now, Doctor, you have, and I'm so delighted that you explained that the believers of the New Testament era spoke Hebrew, and the scriptures that they had were in the original uh, pictographic Proto-Canaanite pictographs. And thus, the Jesus who taught the Torah, which you would say had the original pictographs and original meanings, that same Yeshua then took the notion of first and last in total faithfulness to the Torah and to the writings and to the prophets, and teaches the first and the last shall be first. And I just wanted to put that out there for you as a response to both your videos. Thank you.